The sun's down, the soldering iron's hot, and you know what that means. Welcome to Night School, where the zip ties are tight, the code is questionable, and the LEDs never sleep. Hosted by the one and only Bobby, the professor of Pixel Mayhem. We're diving deep into lighting tips, tech fails, sketchy workarounds, and the secrets nobody teaches until now. Whether you're mapping props at midnight or just here for the chaos, this is your crash course in RGB enlightenment. So grab your beverage of choice and remember, there's no syllabus, no rules, and no guarantee we'll make it out with all our fingers. This is Night School.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Night School. Tonight, we're going to have J.R. Mattos educate us on MegaTrees and all the different types that are out there. And yeah, there's a lot. And let me just get him up here.
What's up?
Hey,
how you doing, Bobby?
Good. Feeling better?
Tonight. Yeah, I still got a little cough, so I might cough tonight a few times, but yeah, I'm rocking headphones because I realized I don't have a studio at home anymore. I moved it to the shop, so I had to ask Johnny for his headphones so I could do this in the office. So I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, we've been having great weather here, and I mean, 80 degrees every day. I'm shocked in the fall.
Yeah, the weather was super nice today, and I got a ton of Halloween up. Not plugged in and not working, but most of the props on the ground are all up. So it was a good day. It was a very good day.
Okay. All right. Well, you want to take us through on MegaTrees here?
Yeah. Let's do this. So this is the building a MegaTree from DIY to Pro. We'll go a little bit about me in case you don't know who I am. I am J.R. Mattos. I grew up on an apricot orchard where my family got tired of cutting apricots, started this company called Grovedale Corp, and they built food processing machinery. And they've been doing that since 1953. It was next door to the house. I would go in there and play and fabricate. It's, I think, a lot of the reason why I think the way I do, where if I have an idea, I don't think it's impossible because I've always figured out a way to make stuff. And sometimes it doesn't go well and I throw it away. But so I grew up in that shop building stuff. I owned a business called Sick Motorsports where we built two of Truckin' Magazine's top 25 trucks of all time in 2016, that magazine came out. We might not be on the list anymore. There's been some cool trucks after that. And then I started building really big Christmas light displays and posted in the groups, and people started being like, hey, I want that. And then I started making it for other people. And that's kind of what made Matos Designs. I lost the season 8 of the Great Christmas Light Fight, but it was the greatest experience ever. So that's a little bit about me if you don't know me. But yeah, and there's my trucks I built and stuff I did. So, but let's get into the introduction of MegaTrees. What is a MegaTree? It's a large Christmas display string of lights with a center pole. That's pretty much the definition of a MegaTree. And it could range from 8 foot to 40 feet. It doesn't matter. Your 8-foot tree could be a MegaTree. It's just really basically the design with a pole in the center and your lights coming off of it is basically what a MegaTree is. A good rule of thumb that's kind of been something that's gone around for years is the half rule. If your tree is 16 foot tall, you want your hoop to be about 8 feet. And it kind of gives it that look. But it also, like, the cool thing about this hobby and the cool thing about MegaTrees is you could build this any way you want. So if you want a wider base or a skinnier one and you like the way it looks, then go for it. I got an example of my first MegaTree. It was with a Mr. Christmas, but that was my first one. That was in 2004. We went to Lowe's, Home Depot, everything, and bought every single strand of light color they had and wrapped them up. And each strand had like 4 or 5 different colors on it. And we plugged it into the Mr. Christmas, and that was it. And then there was what my original topper was. It was like it slid up the pole. I had 2 pulleys that hung down, and we used like paracord and pulled it down. So that was my first MegaTree in 2004. And you could see like the topper, like I went to the shop and like made it pretty custom where it really didn't need to, kind of stole some bolts and stuff like that. So like fabbing stuff is something kind of I've always done. A DIY MegaTree. I'm going to go through like every version of a MegaTree. So we're going to start with the DIY MegaTrees. And the common thing with DIY MegaTrees is you make it out of rigid conduit or black pipe. Or if you want to do it out of square tubing, that's perfect too. And that's for your center pole. I would never, ever, ever use EMT because EMT is a material that is literally designed to be bent. Like they design it so electricians can bend it around things and stuff like that. It is literally designed to be bent. So it is not a good like structural thing to use for your MegaTree. It is basically there's a high probability that it's going to bend and fall down if you use EMT. But rigid conduit works great. Black pipe works great. The only downside to those is if you're threading into something, over time the threads can get rusted and break, and because it thins out at the threads. And then we have what we call like the professional DIY tree. And I call it the professional DIY tree because it's probably one of the greatest things for the hobby that came out a while ago. It's the Walter Monkhouse ASAP pole. It is great. Like if you don't know who Walter is, like look him up. He was on the Light Fight. He does the portable hole base, the jump, the ASAP Junior and the Senior. And he got all the plans in there, and you could go to Home Depot and buy 90% of everything you need for this tree to build it. It's super simple. It's easy. The only thing you're going to have to buy from a vendor is a topper. And it's easy. But then like Pascoyo sells like a kit, so you can get all the pieces you need. So it makes it even easier for you. And then you could go from like a 10 foot and 20 foot, and it cranks up, and it's pretty cool. The only downside to it is its starting point is kind of high, where you still need to use a ladder to get the lights on there before you crank them up. So that is one of the downsides to it, but it's solid design, and many people use this for years and years. So next is like a store-bought DIY tree. Ken from Wired Watts sells a really cool tree. It's his modular MegaTree, and it's all the parts you need. And then you get Schedule 40 pipe, black pipe, 1.25 inches, and you use that for your pole. And then he has all the parts to be able to do it. And it's a crank up one, so that'll come down high enough so you don't need a ladder. And you could hook everything on there and then crank it up. And then his has a base. That's where you kind of get into the store-bought things. That's harder to do in DIY, is making the base ring. It's doable with EMT, but it's also a fight. But yeah, he's got the base ring and all that stuff. And then you don't have to weld. You don't have to do anything. You just have to assemble the kit and get the pipe. And you can kind of do what you want with it, make it as high as you want, all that stuff. So that's a really cool option, is to go with the DIY, like store-bought kits. And then another store-bought DIY kit is our Sasquatch MegaTree kits. It's very similar to the Wired Watts one, but we use 2-inch square tube. And you could source that locally at a metal shop or anything. It has a crank-up topper. You could get the hoop and all that stuff. We've been doing this tree for 5 years now in a DIY kit or a full kit. And it's simple. You know, you could get the 2-inch square tube locally and have your tree, or you could get our modular pole, and you could go in there and build the pole so you don't have to source it from like a metal shop or something like that. But it's super convenient, super easy, and it just goes together super easy like the Wired Watts one. A new one, I don't know a lot about this. I just kind of stole the description from the website. I haven't seen the actual production version. I don't know what version, and I didn't see it up close, just the distance at the Florida Mega Mini, but is Your Pixel Store's new Titan tree. And the only photos I had when I did this is these ones I found in the Florida Mega Mini group of some guy putting his tree together. It has it's got a 10-foot hoop. Well, cool thing, he's got those tabs welded on there. And then it has a winch that cranks up like the Wired Watts and the Sasquatch tree. And I don't know for sure, so don't like go to him and be like, JR said to have this, but I think he has that bearing topper thing, so it rides on bearings. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have experience with it, and I briefly saw a version of it, but not the production version of it. But it's a super easy kit. It's a DIY style because you can kind of assemble it, but I think it comes with everything, so it's more of like, it's kind of a version of back and forth. I don't know for sure, but it's another option out there. And then we have our store-bought MegaTrees. Full, ready to run, fully assembled MegaTree. You just gotta like fold some legs out, put some stuff, and crank it up, and it's done. We call it our Sasquatch Legend lineup. It's our newest tree. We've currently sold out this year. We might have some more coming at the end of October. We're building more for a client, and there may be some extras. We don't know for sure what they want to do yet, but we'll have some more of the Zeus ones. But in 2026, we're going to have multiple versions of this. We're going to have the 12-foot, the 17-foot, the 25-foot, the 33, and the 39.5-foot one. And they're all kits that you don't have to weld. It comes with the tools. Most of it pins together. The only things you have to bolt together is the hoop onto the bottom and the topper the first time onto the topper mount. And then after that, everything's pins and then the hoop. It comes in a bag. It is a complete like store-bought kit. It has an easy up bag. You can roll it out, do all this stuff. And then they come with a set half hoop. So that's that and stuff. So far, is there any questions or anything?
No, there's no questions yet.
Okay. And then there is the commercial MegaTrees, the going like super big pro tree. And Pascoyo has their monster pro tree. It goes from 20 to 30 feet. I think he even has a 40-foot one right now. It is awesome. You could get the crank up version, or you could get the version that goes up by air, which I would say is strong enough to hold moving heads on top of it if you're looking for that kind of option, but necessarily didn't say that. But their tree is awesome. Like, it is, for a commercial tree, it is killer with those cylinders that go up and the way it works and stuff. And then it has an option. I don't know if you can see it in this photo, where you could put a doorway in it. So if you need to access in there, if you want that big tree for a commercial thing or something like that. But yeah, there's like all the versions of MegaTrees, from like the Home Depot version to the super commercial professional version of a MegaTree. Now we're going to get into some like things you need to know about building your own MegaTree, or even your store-bought MegaTree, to make sure that you put it up in a way that is safe and is going to be lasting you forever. The most important thing about a MegaTree is the line of action of gravity. Basically, it's your center pole. If it moves out of center to a certain point, the leverage from that pole is going to pull your pole down. I don't care how big your base is or whatever. If there's something that happens that pulls that center pole past the stable legs, it's going to make it an unstable tree, and it's going to flip it. And there's a lot of things you could do to prevent that from happening. But that is what takes MegaTrees out, is that center pole gets past a certain point, and then the leverage of that pole will flip a tree, even if it's got a 5-foot base. If there's something, Mother Nature, something happening, and that pole gets past a certain point, it will go over. Here's kind of an example of it. Like, if that pole straight up and down, and you guy wire it with 45 degrees and brace it with 45-degree angles, that's going to do everything you can to keep that pole in the center. But once that line of gravity moves out of its center point, it's going to get kind of top heavy because of the leverage of it, and that will just send it over. So it's super important to like guy wire your tree. Like, we're going to go into like the safety and stability of it and keeping your tree upright. But like, that's the basic reason MegaTrees go over, is that the center pole reaches a point and then it's just going to take it. Guy wires are your best friend. Like, always, even if you don't think you need guy wires because you concreted into the ground and bolted it and it's crazy, whatever, guy wires will always save you. Like, even if it's a 10-foot tree, put guy wires on it, especially if you got a super dense tree with a lot of strip. That turns into a wind sail, and that's going to take it a lot easier out of the center of gravity and take it over, because then it's got that sail to take it. Where guy wires come into play, if you put them at a 45-degree angle, right, and you put 3 to 4 of them around there and pulling in opposite ways to keep that center pole in the center, no matter what happens, it's going to be the best thing ever. I always recommend 3 to 4 wires on it. 4 if you can, but sometimes like your placement, you can't really get that 4 all the way around it. So you want to like triangulate your 3 as much as possible. Like, try to keep the same distance from them, get that 45-degree angle and triangulate it. And that's going to do everything you can to help keep that base, that pole in the center. And then something we do too is, like, with our new trees, we run ratchet straps from the topper down to the outside of the feet. So we're building that triangle, and then you're going to guy wire off of that, which is also going to be another way to help keep that center pole in the exact center no matter what happens. And that's going to help keep that tree up. I also recommend anchoring your tree to the ground with some like ground stakes, rebar, anything like that. Something to help get that into the ground. And the same thing with your guy wires is, like, you need to have those like very securely in the ground. You can't just be like, oh, I put my 3 guy wires or my 4 and they're perfectly at a 45-degree angle, but I put this ground anchor that was only 12 inches long and my soil gets really wet. Like, it's going to rip out of the ground. So you have to, and there's no, like, I can't tell you how long your ground anchor should be. Like, a 12-inch one could work in certain situations, but it's all about the soil you have, the ground that you have, to determine what kind of ground stake you need. Like, and the weather you have. Like, there's places that get extreme weather, where I recommend getting one of those RV hurricane strap anchors for your MegaTree, just for your guy wires. Because the biggest thing from building drive-throughs and all the stuff that we've done is Mother Nature is the most powerful thing in the world. And if you think it's strong enough, you have to be prepared for the most extreme weather you've ever had, because it will happen. Maybe not every year, but there's going to be one year you're going to be like, oh shit. And you're going to be okay because you're like, oh, I put all the guy wires and I overdid this and the tree stayed up. The tree stayed up in a hurricane because I did everything I needed to do. But you have to like overdo it. Like spend the extra time overdoing the guy wires and making sure that tree is perfectly stable. And it's going to make you have a MegaTree for a long time. It's just going to be easier to maintain it. Nothing's bent. And you'll be able to have a MegaTree for the life of your display, as long as you take care of it in ways of making sure it's safe and guy wired properly. Because once it's guy wired wrong and Mother Nature hits it and it bends something, there's a lot of chance it's going to be junk. Like all the versions of trees, if Mother Nature bends the shit out of it, you're going to have to start over, and nobody wants to do that. So spend the extra time, make sure it's done right. If you're using ratchet straps, give them that little flick and say that ain't going nowhere, and you'll be good. Here's a little demo on how to guy wire it. I try to guy wire as close to the top or on the topper of the tree. That is, and get that 45-degree angle. The most important thing, honestly, is that 45-degree angle. Even if you have struts that run on the bottom of your tree to support the pole to the legs, like those have to be a 45-degree angle. If they're not a 45-degree angle, they're not doing anything. So even your guy wires need to be a 45-degree angle, and that will save it. And if you got a bigger tree, there is no reason you can't put another set of guy wires halfway through the tree. I ran a 39.5-foot tall tree last year at my Christmas display at my house, and I had guy wires from the top down to the 4 legs, and then I had guy wires from the top out 45 degrees in 3 ways down. One of them I cheated. I tied it to the house because that ain't going nowhere. And then about halfway up the tree, I guy wired it again because I just wanted to make sure. One, I didn't want it to fall on my truck. I didn't want it to fall on my house. I didn't want it to fall on my neighbor's cars or house, or be out there with my kids giving hot chocolate and the tree falls down. And it was a giant tree. You could see it over my 2-story house. I wanted to make sure that thing wasn't going anywhere. And it didn't move. We had some of the craziest wind we've had in a while. And my neighbor across the street, we were out of town, and he sent me a video. He's like, your tree ain't moving. He's like, everything else is blowing around the neighborhood, but your tree hasn't moved. He's like, I'm pretty impressed. I was like, cool. But it's because we guy wired it right, So just spend the extra time. I know I'm spending a long time talking about guy wires, but that is the most important thing to a MegaTree to make sure it stays up. Here's a quick video of a properly guy wire Sasquatch MegaTree in a hurricane. So if you do it right, it will stay up and last forever. I screwed that up. So that is pretty much everything. It is actually a little bit longer of a presentation than I did in the East Coast. I added a bunch more things to it from the questions I had there. Apparently that answered anybody's questions, because I don't think we've had any questions yet. Do we, Bobby?
No, we don't have any questions at all.
Okay. Well, I feel sad that nobody's asking questions, but that I've told them everything they want to know, or they just don't care. So I'm okay with both. Do you have any questions, Bobby?
No. No, I keep learning as I go as to what I've done wrong with my MegaTrees. I'll tell you that. I've had a couple go down.
Really?
Yes, mostly. One time it was once the ground thawed and the water and it was real soggy. It just ripped the dog
anchor out of the ground.
Anchor,
Yeah.
the dog screw one, right out of the ground. Just whole plug came right out.
Well, that's why, when I was talking about the ground anchors, I can't tell you what size to use because you have to know what your soil does.
And so, I've even asked. We have an engineer in the area here. He's one of the Zoom room helpers.
Yeah, and he does a great MegaTree class too.
Yes, John D. And he can't even give an answer because even in this area, there's so many different ground types.
Yeah. And that you just got to experiment a little bit and hopefully not experiment with your MegaTree, but like before the season. And, and if you think your ground anchor is long enough, I would get the one that's a little bit longer just to make sure you get under where it's going to get muddy, And
on my other one, I was using a portable hole, which I'm really moving away from it. It was a 20-foot tree. And I probably was using the right stuff. I use paracord as my guy wires. That way I can adjust it easily.
Yeah.
I can do knots, so it's nice. But I had a squirrel decide to make a nest up in my topper. And once he got hungry more, he ate up pixels. He then also decided to eat the guy wire.
Oh.
So down went that tree.
So he ate the paracord?
Yep, through the paracord.
Wow. See, I know the wires because a lot of lights and wires and stuff use a vegetable type oil for their manufacturing.
And they ate it all the way to the PCB board.
Oh, wow. He was that hungry.
Yeah.
Dang.
After that, though, I did get the Sasquatch base with the poles that go in the X formation, and that's a lot sturdier than the portable. I've noticed.
Yeah, well, you could make the portable.
This is the wider base, just because it's a wider base on that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like with that portable hole base, when you don't put the extender legs on it,
it's not like stable.
Well, it's
a heavy base, but that's it.
Yeah, but that movement of the pole is I don't know how to say this right, but it can move a lot less and have a bigger impact on the overall gravity and the leverage that pole has because the base is so small. Even though it's heavy, it still has that tipping point.
Yeah.
So if the base is bigger, you get a little bit more movement in your pole before it turns into like an issue, But yeah, that was my last slide. So I don't know if there's any more questions.
No more questions. Well, JR, thank you for coming on and educating everybody about MegaTrees.
Yeah, and I tried to cover everybody's I know of. I know there was some ones in the past, but I haven't seen them sold anymore, so I didn't bring them up. Like I forgot what it's called now. But it's very similar to wire plots.
And I mean, one of my trees, I'll even say, is still a holiday coral little piece of plastic on the ground. But I have ratchet straps going down, and that's the one that ripped up just from the anchor coming out.
But see, that's how that tree works so good as the guy wires.
Yeah, but I mean, I put a little piece of maybe like a 4x4 or 6x6 piece of wood under it with 10-inch spikes going into the ground, so it won't sway out from underneath it.
Yeah, but in theory, if you guy wire the shit out of that tree, it's not going to go anywhere because the guy wires are going to hold it.
So, just as long as the bottoms will kick out.
Yeah.
So that's where the 10 or 12-inch spikes going down help too.
Yeah. So, yeah. So hopefully nobody's trees fall over. But yeah.
I post my mistakes. I'm not shy about it.
Yeah, I had one tree tip. Not gonna lie. It's 25 foot. It was a brand new house that I have now. First year there. I poured concrete and put the pole in, and I dumbly was like, it's in concrete. It's just a 2-inch square tube. I put like a couple guy wires on it. Right? Just like two, because I was like, oh, the house is in the way and whatever. Well, it rained so much that year, the ground got so muddy. The big piece of concrete I put in the ground shifted.
Ooh.
And the tree leaned forward. And I was like, shit. And then I went out there and guy wired it back while it was muddy. And it stayed up. But like, that's an example of you need to know the soil that you are putting stuff in before you do it. Because even if you concrete a base into the ground, if you don't do it deep enough or large enough based off your soil, it could get muddy and it could move.
And we also have to remember those pixels are heavy on the one side of your tree too.
Yes.
So you got to make sure to counter those as well.
Yeah, so I completely ripped that out after the season and made a huge concrete with rebar tied into the driveway and all the other stuff just to make sure I went overboard because I didn't want anything, first year here, huge Christmas display and the neighbors are like, your tree almost fell over. I was like, it wasn't going to fully fall over. Like it couldn't.
I mean,
but it shifted.
But both of mine fell away from the house.
Yeah, that's what it was falling away
that's the
from
important
the house,
thing.
but also towards the neighbor's driveway, though.
I had enough room. Neither of them were hitting anybody or anything.
Yeah.
They were all in the grass still.
Yeah, you have room. I'm in California. We're a little close.
I showed you that beautiful house.
Yeah, I know.
That's for sale.
Like here. Like I was putting up Halloween today. I did the spider web. I didn't put on a MegaTree, the new Mega one. I did it from the gutter down. I don't know if you could see it in that. And then I put my ground breaker and a custom like Coro pillar. Made it look like he crushed the center one because he was coming out of the ground. Trying to make it tell a story. Then I got the new hearse from Home Depot. So I got the gates and the hearse there. And then I got my 12-foot skeletons on either side of the driveway. I have Butch. He makes all these brackets for the 12-foot skeletons. So I have the elbow, right? But I want a shoulder. So he's making me a shoulder. So I'm going to put the arms straight out on both sides and then hang lights from their arms. So that's what I've been doing today. But yeah, I guess that's it. Sorry, I'm pushing your buttons, Bobby.
You're the guest. I'm the host.
Yeah,
Chill.
I know. I'm sorry. It's habit. But thanks for having me. I had fun. I'm sorry I missed last week for being sick. That's why, like, the presentation was done, and I noticed your Pixel store posted on Facebook. What was it? Yesterday, I think. Like a nice new image of his tree, and I was like, shit. But I already had this made, and we had sports and stuff, so I didn't have time to change it. But go look. He's got a new picture of it. Johnny had football today. He got his ass kicked. And he's the quarterback, so. No, the kids that they played were, like, way better. Like, they moved, like, 5 or 6 yards, and the other kids were like, oh, we'll run it to the end zone.
So I'm understanding though, it's like he dresses in full gear, but it's flag football.
Well, it's called flex. So his helmet's not a full helmet. It's like a Guardian helmet, but just on his head. It's like that foam stuff, and then his pads are not. They don't have the hard plastic part of it. They're just all the soft pads. But
So
they go on like
or
football.
Or is it flag still?
It's flag, but they could block and stiff arm and push people out of the way. So you just can't tackle to end the play. And you can't tackle somebody blocking them or something like that. You still have to pull the flag. You could get a penalty if you tackle.
Oh.
So. But you
trust
can
me, I'm
block
taking
and
you down.
stiff arm. Yeah. There's some teams that the kids are like, whatever. And then, but it's fun. He likes it. So I'm still iffy about, with my history of concussions, about putting him in full tackle.
Yeah. Well, that's your history, not his.
I know, but I don't want him to start young with having a history.
True.
But yeah, well, thanks, Bobby. Well, have a good Sunday evening. We are going to the pumpkin patch right now.
Pumpkin patch?
Because it's cooler and this one gets crazy. So we're going to go before everybody else starts going because it just opened.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for coming, JR, and showing us that. Next week, we're going to be doing a class on mounting. So we'll talk about how to put the deer heads up and the bear and reindeer and all that fun stuff.
And how to stuff them.
Yep. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Not the mounting I was thinking of, but yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to see myself out. Thanks, Bobby.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming in.
Well, that's it for tonight's lesson in light-based lunacy. So smash that subscribe button, zap a comment below, and share your worst tech fail. We might even feature it in the next class. Until then, stay lit, stay learning, and always remember to bring a backup SD card. Night School dismissed.